There's no products found. What?
Yeah, it's Dave. I'm not coming into work today. Okay. We've got work to do. A relatively recent addition to the bestiary, Belkers are twisted elementals from the plane of smoke. They have been depicted in a variety of ways, but no commercially available miniatures for it have been made. None from WizKids, none from Reaper, nothing. Since it's a winged monster without a rigid form, you could easily proxy a gargoyle or a pit fiend for it, but, maybe you like to use your imagination when you play Dungeons & Dragons, but I don't. Proxying miniatures might fly on Half-Ass Pete's proxy show, but on Miniature Mashup we stand for the truth, or the closest approximation of the truth we can reach using dollar store toys and cardboard. Our materials will be this promotional Jack Frost figure from AMC Theaters. He'll be donating his head. The Halloween novelty bat will donate his body to the project, as will this Halloween novelty spider. Also, we'll be taking the arms off this finger puppet. For this project, we will be making liberal use of the Dremel tool, the hot glue gun, and the safety knife. I'm also going to be using some pretty heavy gauge wire. Hopefully I won't have to use it to pin anything, but I suspect I might since rubber is awful to work with. Jack, you've been found guilty of writing frozen fan fiction. The sentence is death. And he's got some blue raspberry slushy coming out of his neck. Let's take the bat's head off as well. Hey, look at me, I'm Ozzy Osbourne over here. I'm going to slice a chunk off Jack's head to get it a more flush fit when we glue it on. Let's slice the arms off the finger puppet. I'm going to split the body up as well for future use. Now I'm stripping the paint off Jack's head using acetone. We're going to trim both the spider eyes and the bat stomach off so we can get a nice flush fit when we glue them together. Let's chop the abdomen off the spider. We won't be using that. Let's Dremel a hole for the stand in the bat while we still have the Dremel tool plugged in. And let's hot glue the whole mess together so it looks something like this. Now let's chop and bend the wire into a stand. Pretty spooky already, huh? Wait until it's painted. Let's cut a bit of wire to make a flight stand. Here's our model mounted on the flight stand. We're going to trim down this soda cap. Soda's not just nutritious, the caps can also be used to make flight stands. Dremel tool holes in either side. We're going to hot glue the flight stand onto a 2x2 inch cardboard base. I've just primed everything in black and the arms have come off, as did the head. I'm going to have to pin them in, which means dremeling a hole in the head and the arms and the body and slipping a bit of wire in there to add extra support and extra surface area for the glue. It's a little bit more work, but it's unavoidable. The painting side of this project isn't that involved. We're just going to dry brush gray onto it, and then lighter shades of gray and eventually white. Pretty much exactly like the Drider we did last week. We'll bring the eyes out with white and then red. A sickening green will make the pupils. I'm going to flock his base with green tea and add a headstone I painted ages ago. So now that we have one, I want to talk about how you run a Belker. The manual says that Belkers are isolationists and largely don't concern themselves with other races. Players will most likely encounter Belkers that are being compelled to attack them, or they'll stumble across their lair in a dungeon. If they encounter a Belker outside of its lair, it's probably there to kill them. A Belker's best strategy is to turn to its gaseous form under the cover of darkness and drop any spellcasters first. She'll wait until night, and also if there's a campfire going, they should drop wet leaves or a bunch of weeds, green weeds, into the fire. This will help dim the fire and also cause a lot of smoke, making the Belker practically invisible. Also, if anyone else wakes up and one character is coughing and the camp is full of smoke, it might be 2 or 3 rounds before they even figure out that the Belker's in the camp. Its meager intelligence of 6 means that it can't figure out who spellcasters are until at least one spell is fired, but once that spell goes off, elemental magic should be especially offensive to it. Its next target should be the fighters, and lastly, any rogues standing around. They don't sleep, so they can follow the party and wait until they camp for the night. Although they don't have a lot of hit points, dropping a Belker should be tough as they are fast, perfect flyers and can escape through the narrowest of cracks. Let's talk about a Belker's lair. I'll be describing the ideal Belker's lair. That doesn't mean you should drop your players into a lair like this, as it's probably not fair. But some of these qualities should definitely be kept in mind. Belkers are not geniuses, but they have reasonable wisdom and never sleep. This means they have plenty of time to find a desirable lair and then prepare defenses for it. The entrance of a Belker's lair should be quite a squeeze and doesn't need to be anywhere near the floor. In fact, it will probably be over an open pit. A pit full of something loud and clangy, perhaps a bit of rusty shield and armor. The floor of a Belker's lair should be covered with boulders and or rubble. A Belker can hide amongst them and move unimpeded, while intruders have to make balance and athletics checks just to get around. The floor should also be littered with dried fungus and rotten wood, so that any fire or lightning spells start a foul, smoky brush fire, blinding and choking intruders, while leaving the Belker unaffected. The walls should also be riddled with escape routes in case things start to go bad. And that's my take on the Belker. Thanks for tuning in to Miniature Mashup. Until next time.